Throughout FromSoftware's history of Souls and Souls-like games, there have been a variety of amazing boss fights that pretty much every single Souls fan in existence enjoys. I mean, the roster is absolutely stacked. You got Gwyn, Lord of Cinder from Dark Souls 1, the Nameless King from Dark Souls 3, Slave Knight Jail also from Dark Souls 3, Ishin the Sword Saint from Sekiro, and the list goes on, and that's not even counting FromSoftware's biggest game, Elden Ring. Elden Ring itself has an entire dream team of stellar bosses that so many people enjoy to fight. Godfrey, Mesmer, Radon, Malekith, and like previous Souls and Souls-like games, the list appears to be endless. But there's one boss in particular that I humbly think trumps all of these bosses, and based on the fact that you have already clicked on this video and you've seen the thumbnail and you've read the title, you already know that I think that Bayle the Dread is the best boss fight possibly in the history of the Souls genre. Dragon fights in Elden Ring are not something that the majority of the player base enjoys. On one side, you have the lesser dragons whom you encounter very early in your playthrough, and on the other hand, you have the ancient dragons who are far stronger and you encounter them much later in the game. However, there is a horrendous commonality between the two types of dragons in Elden Ring, and that is a little something I like to call camping syndrome. Basically, camping syndrome is when you're forced to camp at a boss's legs or even another part of its body just to deal damage to it, because you're not given any other chances to do so. This effectively nullifies the purpose of moving around and dodging attacks, because if you do end up doing that too much, oftentimes you're gonna be displaced a bit further away from the boss and you'll have to spend that small attack window you have running to the boss as opposed to attacking it. This becomes tedious really quickly since dragon fights in Elden Ring can be exceptionally lengthy, and this issue, albeit very small, can impact dragon fights so much. And not just dragon fights. The Fire Giant has this issue along with the Elden Beast, although the Elden Beast mostly just dashes off like a little prick. But why exactly does Bayle get so much praise from me and pretty much the rest of the community? Well, it's because he doesn't have this issue. Have you noticed that Bayle punishes you if you try camping at his legs? And not just that, he actually allows you to attack his head after every combo he does, and the attack windows are not that short at all. Well, that's precisely why Bayle gets so much more praise than other dragon fights. Hold the phone right there, Editor TGP here. In this video, I originally forgot to discuss Placidusax, and for the most part, he doesn't really have this issue, at least after he starts teleporting and shit. So carry on, like and subscribe. And that's really just the tip of the iceberg for Bayle's fight. There are plenty of other aspects of Bayle's fight that are just extremely well done, and I guess I'll introduce you to the characteristics of a boss fight that either make or break the fight. Now keep in mind that regardless of the characteristics that I discuss, this is entirely subjective. People have different experiences for each and every boss in Elden Ring, and different builds, different gameplay styles, and different approaches to the game all play a major factor in how we feel and experience this great game. But let's go back to the characteristics. The first one that I really think Bayle excels in is the fact that his fight is a cinematic masterpiece. Now, objectively speaking, Elden Ring is the latest IP for FromSoftware, so it only makes sense that it looks the most visually appealing. However, as time and technology progress, I have no doubt that future Souls games will look just as good or even better than Elden Ring does right now. But let's go back to Bayle. This fight is just astonishingly good. The first time you fight him, Bayle isn't just waiting for you, but rather he comes out of the flippin' sky crashing to the ground like a meteor. This is easily one of the most badass introductions to a fight that I have ever seen. Moving on, the first phase of the fight is relatively normal, at least it's what you would expect from Elden Ring at this point in time, but then that second phase, it just becomes so chaotic in terms of visuals, and that's a really good thing. They made a dragon act like an actual dragon and fly around, breathe fire, blow shit up, basically anything you could have asked for in a dragon fight. And speaking of the second phase, that alone deserves a shit ton of recognition. Bayle's second phase might just be one of the best second phases I have ever experienced. Because of the fact that there's so much going on, every single second of that second phase is captured brilliantly. And there's way more to the second phase that meets the eye. From my experience, Bayle might have the largest jump in difficulty from a first to a second phase possibly ever. Now I know a lot of people will think of Radon and associate that with a massive jump in difficulty from its first to its second phase, which it definitely is, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that is to the same extent as Bayle. In Bayle's second phase, there is so much more action and intensity than in comparison to his first phase. To put things into perspective, Bayle's second phase has him execute a variety of new moves, and I guess I'll just skim through and showcase those moves and let y'all see for yourselves just how intense this fight actually is. Yeah, all of that is just absolutely freaking awesome and incredible to watch, and combined with the fact that Bayle has an amazing OST just makes it a whole lot better. Now, I don't want to ramble too much about OSTs because in my last Elden Ring video where I ranked every Elden Ring Remembrance boss, link in the description, I kinda yapped a bit too much about OSTs and realized that a bit too late. But aside from that, I thought I would just point out this one really cool tiny detail, and that is how Bayle's OST syncs with his second phase transition. All in all, I really do think Bayle is one of the best fights FromSoftware has ever made, and quite possibly, very, very strong, quite possibly, the best fight of all time. Obviously, this is all subjective and just my opinion, and it really comes down to the experiences that each player had with this game. There are a ton of other amazing bosses, and you're all welcome to think that another boss is better than Bayle. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers, so it'll be amazing if we can actually hit that soon. Leave a comment down below what your favorite FromSoftware boss is. Have a great day.